Good morning. My name is Ellen Johnston, and today I'll be answering the questions for exercise 5.7 of the Career Foundry Data Analytics Immersion course. The first question is, what does the CRISP-DM methodology for data mining entail, and what does the analyst do in each step? CRISP-DM stands for Cross-Industry Standard Process for Data Mining, so it's a really widely used method for data mining. The first step of the method is business understanding. This is where the analyst goes in and makes sure that they understand the priorities of the business so that they can modify their practices to make sure that they're achieving these goals. The second step is data understanding. This is where the analyst goes in and makes sure the data is clean, concise, and this is also the step in which they would address any bias within the data or the collection of the data and make sure that it's documented in whatever report they're presenting to final stakeholders. The third step is data preparation. This is where the analyst will do some further, more advanced analysis. They may derive new variables, group data together, use pivot tables and other tools like that to find the actual insights in the data and what they can use to then create a model. And that is the fourth step, is modeling, where the analyst uses those insights from the last step to develop an algorithm to create a predictive model that has the business goals in mind. The fifth step is evaluation. This is where the analyst and usually a team or colleagues or other people are involved, and they evaluate the performance of the model. They see how well it works and if it is doing what the business needs it to do. The sixth step is deployment, and this is where the model is then put into practice and used by the company. While the model at this point has been approved by a team or colleagues and the analyst, it still needs to be monitored in case of the need for any modification or optimization as time goes on and data may change and the model may need to be just adjusted a little bit. The second question we have is explain what needs to be done before you can forecast time series. In other words, what does a time series involve? The first step in a time series analysis is collecting data over a period of time. The period of time depends completely upon the business, the goals, the priorities, what you're trying to achieve. It could be years, months, weeks, even maybe days. You just need to make sure that there's a period where the data has been collected, a time period. Once you have the data collected, plotting it in chronological order is the next step. And once you have it plotted, you can look at your graph and determine if it has any components of stationarity, autocorrelation, or seasonality. And once you have this info, you can then use this to make a forecast time series where you can predict what is going to happen in the future. Our third question is discuss the main principles of data ethics as well as what companies or organizations could do to uphold these principles. The first main principle of data ethics is bias. It's really important for a analyst to understand how the data was collected, who collected the data. There are many types of bias that could come through the collection process. If you didn't collect the data yourself, you don't know if the collector was excluding any part of the sample. Measurement bias, the human error is a thing, computer error is a thing. Just being aware of it is really important. And also knowing the experience level of the person who collected the data is really important, because you don't know how that could also influence what they give you. Making sure that this is all just monitored, reported, and made aware of is really, you can't get rid of bias completely, so just making sure everybody's aware of the possibility of it and it's acknowledged in your reports and everything is really important. The second main principle of data ethics is privacy and security. Customers are usually willing to give a business their information as long as they feel that their information is safe and secure and their privacy isn't being put at risk. This is really important so that you can maintain and grow your clientele. If people aren't feeling safe, they're not going to give you their information. They're not going to use your company. So making sure you have good privacy and security policies in hand is super important. Ways that you can make sure that you are staying up to date or keeping up with privacy and security is having consistent evaluations of not only your policies, but also maybe some check-ins with your employees. Make sure that everybody is following the same guidelines, has the same morals, values, things like that. Our next question here is, imagine you're an analyst at a financial services company and you have some concerns about bias in the way a predictive model was measured. How would you raise your concerns with your manager? Make some suggestions for how to avoid measurement bias in the future. If I had a concern with a manager, I would definitely schedule a one-on-one meeting with them rather than bringing the issue up through an email or in a meeting with other colleagues around. This would allow for more of a back and forth conversation rather than me just bombarding them with all the information that I think needs to be worked on, and we can communicate about it directly back and forth rather than like an email or in front of other people. I would make sure I provide evidence of where I believe the measurement bias lies within the data. And then I would make sure to offer not just one solution, but probably a couple or, a few, so that they don't feel that my suggestion is, so they don't feel like I'm making the choice for them, let them choose like what solution maybe works best for them. They can also, offer their own suggestions after that as well. To avoid measurement bias in the future, I would probably recommend that we keep a really thorough record of who collected data and how it was done. Then maybe assign a team or team member the task of reviewing these records to maintain the integrity of the company and the data collection process that we use. The last question is, explain the difference between regression and classification models in predictive analysis. When would you use one of the models over the other? Regression models make predictions by determining a relationship between an independent and a dependent variable. Classification models make predictions based on predefined features of an entity. So really the main difference is that classification models are used with non-continuous variables, while regression models are used with continuous variables. Those are all the questions. Thank you.